speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Who you with, Kirk? I'm out. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome to speak on it. Welcome to speak on it. I'm welcome to speak on it. Welcome to speak on it. I'm welcome to speak on it. Welcome to speak on it. I'm welcome to speak. Welcome to speak. Welcome to speak. I'm 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 who you with, Kirk, dog. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, dog. I'm who you with, Kirk, dog. Happy Monday, and hopefully you had a great day today during this extended holiday. Want to say thank you to all the servicemen and women that have served and lost their life for our great country. We appreciate you, and for the family, we appreciate that you allowed your loved one to sacrifice their life for us, and we are remembering them today. On the show today marked 100 years since the Tulsa, Oklahoma massacre. And still today, not much had changed. So we're going to talk about that. Then we're going to talk about we talked about it last night on the show about the Texas voting laws and how the Democrat stood up, and that's it right, to prevent the voting. We're going to hit on that. Then yesterday, last night, after we got off the air, the news hit. Coleman Thomas Blevins. Yeah. That's the young man in Caryville that was planning a mass shooting at Walmart. Now, Caryville is just north of San Antonio. Better yet, south of Austin. But at the same time, a politician would like for us to make it easy for anyone to carry a gun. We're going to hit on that too. I know last night we did not get the opportunity of reading the emails last night. So we're going to do that tonight. You can live chat with us in the chat room, regardless of what platform you own. Welcome to Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, Twitter. D Live is always in the house. So welcome to the show. Feel free to chat live with us. Whatever's going on with you, whatever's on your mind, we can always add it. If you have an opinion that is different from my opinion, it's okay. We can still have an open discussion. This platform is for everyone, regardless of what political party you are affiliated with. We just ask for two things. To be honest, no conspiracy theory, and bring facts. Be respectful. I know that's more than two, but just to sum it up, we want everybody welcome on this show. regardless of who you are welcome to this show. So, man, so 100 years today since the Tulsa, Oklahoma riot, better known as the Black Wall Street. Um, 100 years ago, back in 1921, the Black Wall Street in Greenwood um, section of Tulsa, Oklahoma, it was well defined. A lot of Black business booming. But because how much they was booming, people wanted to take that land. So they conspired with the white mob and the government. That's not a shocker. And the government to go in and this neighborhood, bomb this neighborhood in 1921. All because they wanted that land. That was the only way they was going to be able to get that land. Now, some people say, well, that ain't true. Well, yes, it is. It is. Because let the history show you, this have gone on too long. See, I'm old school. When the Gap Band came out with the song, You Dropped a Bomb on Me. Great song. But a lot of us, including myself, didn't know exactly what the song meant about you dropped the bomb on me. But here it is today. I can't say it's a celebration because it's nothing to celebrate because justice still haven't been served. Now, several years back, reparations supposed to have been paid to the surviving members. And they still haven't been paid. People say, well, why do y'all always ask for reparation? Well, because we've lost so much. Our ancestors have lost so much. One survivor, two of the three living survivors of the 1921 race massacre, Viola Fletcher and her brother, Hugh Van Ellis, attended a final soil collection at Sandpipe Hill to honor the remaining unknown victim who died there. Now, when they talk about the unknown victims, because it's a mass grave, they was in the process several years back. They was trying to build something and discovered this mass grave that's supposed to be possibly the ones that was murdered during that time, where a lot of people lost their lives. And that's part of America history. But a lot of governors do not want to discuss that. A lot of governors do not want to be a part of the history of America. But because you're trying so hard to block it out, this should be taught in the schools. You want to whitewash the history of America, to let people forget about it or let them take it to their grave. That's why it's so important that we let our kids know about these type of events. Now, there have been quite a bit of um, um, racial massacres going on where white mobs come in and kill the black community, all for a financial gain. But they say it's not a problem of race in America. Yes, it is. If you don't think it is, you might be part of the problem. It's a very good chance you are part of the problem. So, yeah, it's a problem in America. Um, One story actually read Black Wall Street was shattered 100 years ago. How the Tulsa race massacre was covered up and unearthed. A century ago this week, the wealthiest U.S. Black community was burned to the ground. At the turn of the 20th century, the Greenwood district of Tulsa, Oklahoma became one of the first communities in the country thriving with Black entrepreneurs, business, the prosperous town founded by many descendants of slaves, earned a reputation as the Black Wall Street of America and became a harbor for African American, a highly segregated city under Jim Crow laws. On May 31st, 1921, a white mob turned Greenwood upside down in one of the worst racial massacres in U.S. history. In a matter of hours, 35 square blocks of vibrant Black community were turned into smoldering ashes. Countless Black people were killed, estimated range from 55 to more than 300, and 1,000 homes and business were looted and set on fire. Yet, for the longest time, the massacre received scant mention in newspaper, textbooks, and civil and governmental conversation. It wasn't until 2000 that the slaughter was included in Oklahoma public school curriculum, and it did not enter American history textbook until recent years. The 1921 Tulsa Race Riot Commission was formed to investigate in 1997 and officially released a report in 2001. The massacre was actively covered up in the white community in Tulsa for nearly a half century, said Scott Ellsworth, a professor of Afro American and African Studies at the University of Michigan and author of the groundbreaking about the Tulsa Massacre. When I started my research in the 1970s, I discovered that official National Guards reports and other documents were all missing. Ellsworth said, Tulsa, two daily white newspapers. They went out of their way for decades not to mention the massacre. Researchers who would try to do work on this as late as the 1970s had their lives threatened and had their career threatened. In the weeks following the massacre, Tulsa chief of police ordered his officer to go to all the photographic study in Tulsa and confiscate all the pictures taken at occurrence, Ellsworth said. These photos which were later discovered and became the material the Oklahoma Commission used to study the massacre, eventually landed in the lap of Michelle Place at Tulsa Historical Society and Museum in 2001. It took me about 4 days to get through the box because the photographs were so horrific. I had never seen those kind of pictures before. Place said I didn't know anything about the ride before I came to work here. I never heard of it. Since I've been here, I've been at my desk to guard them to the very best of my ability. The Tulsa Museum was founded in the late 1900s, but visitors couldn't find a trace of the race massacre until 2012, when Place became executive director, determined to tell all of Tulsa's story. A digital collection of the photographs was eventually made available for viewing. There's still a significant number of people in our community who don't want to look at it, who don't want to talk about it, Clay said. The silence is layered. Not only did Tulsa city officials cover up the bloodbath, but they also deliberately shift the narrative of the massacre by calling it a riot and blaming the Black community for what went down, according to Alicia Oldwell at the University of Tulsa. The massacre also wasn't discussed publicly in the African American community either for a long time. First, out of fear, if it happened once, it can happen again. You are seeing the perpetrator walking freely on the street, Orwell said. You are in the Jim Crow South, and there are racial terrorists happening across the country at this time. They are protecting themselves for a reason. Moreover, this became such a traumatic event for survivors, and much like Holocaust survivors. In the World War II veteran, many of them didn't want to burden their children and grandchildren with these horrifying memories. Ellerworth said he knows a descendant, a massacre survivor, who didn't find out about it until they was in their 40s and 50s. The silence is layered, just as the trauma is layered. Orwell said the historical trauma is real, and that trauma lingers, especially because there is no justice, no accountability, and no reparation or monetary compensation. What triggered the massacre? On May 31st, 1921, Dick Rowland, a 19-year-old Black shoe shiner, tripped and fell in the elevator, and his hand accidentally caught the shoulder of Sarah Page, a white 17-year-old operator. Page screamed, and Rowland was seen running away. Police were summoned, but Page refused to press charges. However, by that afternoon, there was already talks of lynching Rowland on the street of White Tulsa. The tension then escalated after the white newspaper Tulsa Tribune ran a front page story entitled "Nab Negro for Attacking Girl in Elevator," which accused Rowland of stalking, assault, and rape. In the Tribune, there was also a non-loss editor entitled "To Lynch Tonight," according to Ellsworth. When the work progressed, administration went to microfilm the old issue of the Tribune in the 1930s The op-ed had already been torn out, the newspaper, Ellsworth said. Many believe the newspaper coverage undoubtedly played a part in sparking the massacre. Mm. Seem like some of the same stuff we still going through today. When we get Karens calling the police, making false report on a bird watcher, or a man trying to do their job, or better yet, trying to cut their grass. We still getting those same type of reports today, which is pitiful. For Black Tulsa, the massacre resulted in a decline in home ownership, occupational status, and education attainment, according to a recent study through the 1940s, led by Harvard University Alex Albright. Today, there are only 3 Black businesses on the single remaining blocks in the Greenwood district, once held as the Black Wall Street. This month, 3 survivors of the 1921 massacre, aged 100, 106, and 107, appeared before a congressional committee, and a Georgia congressman introduced a bill that would make it easier for them to seek reparation. Meanwhile, historians continue to unearth what was lost for decades. In October, a mass grave in an Oklahoma cemetery was discovered that could be the remains of at least a dozen identified and unidentified African American massacre victims. Were able to look for signs of surviving and signs of lives, and really look for those remnants of built Greenwood, and not just about how they died. Or they'll say Greenwood never left. That was a story provided by CNBC. But still, we're still having to deal with this. Welcome to the show, Marcella Smith. Glad you can make it. Thank you for always supporting the show. Hopefully you've been safe. I don't know if it's storming in Louisiana like it is here in Texas. So hopefully you're safe and enjoying your day. I'm sure somebody has some good crawfish or something out today, a pole bar or something, some frog tails, frog leg or something. But welcome to the show, Marcellus. Thank you for always tuning in. Want to know your opinion. How do you feel about the Tulsa massacre? How do you feel about it? Do you think it's time to do the right thing? Or better yet, do you feel it should be taught in school? Because the governor of Oklahoma is one of those that want to limit what they can talk about and not talk about when it's dealing with race in the schools. Do you feel this should be taught in the school? Should it be where they should have, instead of just having a history class, but let's talk about Black history in school? The good, the bad, and the ugly of what Black people had to endure for years. Do you feel that's what we should do? So I'm just kind of curious. I want to know your opinion. How do you feel about it? And you can uh I'm sorry, somebody text me. Someone tried to call me and they don't realize I'm live right now. Um so let me know how you feel about it. Um and you can put it in the chat, whether if you agree with me or not. Let me know how you feel. But I feel like the right thing should be done. And as also, I feel like the right thing should be done when it come down to um, all these other massacres we've had in the U.S. Because even Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina, um, one there over in Raleigh, Durham, they was actually in the insurance business, um, pretty strong, and they were vibrant, and it was um, it was actually uh, it was actually pretty strong what they was doing in the black community. But once again, you get certain folks come in and they're jealous because of it. Uh, uh, so because they get jealous and they want to come in and take it because they seen black folks thriving. They doing everything they can to um, survive, but people are jealous. And still today, is a lot of people are jealous. That's why I try to as much as I can, I try to support people that is doing great things in the world. And with this particular, the different massacres that have taken place in the US is crazy. And that's why we should, our ancestors have dealt with a lot of things. And it should be reparation for it, without a doubt. It should be. Um, I want to make sure I tell you the right city. I know it was one in Wilmington, um, North Carolina, and one in Wilmington, um, California. Um, There's been a lot of them in the U.S. So uh, even had an election riot in Alabama. Not surprised there, because look at them; they still trying to keep folks from betting, from voting. Matter of fact, as we talk about voting, um, tomorrow is the last day for early voting here in Texas. Please go out and vote. Don't wait until the 5th. Do not wait until Saturday and say, "Oh, I could go to the polls on Saturday." This is what people had to go through. People gone through this stuff because they was trying to keep black folks from voting. That's some of it. Even in Florida, um, uh, Ocoee, Florida, black population of Ocas, a town near Orlando, was nearly destroyed during the 1920 election season. Why? Because they did not want them to vote. It's a lot of places like that. We've seen some history of America where people would they came up with a poll tax. You had to pay a poll tax in order to vote. Where they do that at? Or some people was threatened that if they tried to vote, they was threatened. Some people have lost their life trying to vote. But now you have that opportunity. You have the opportunity of voting, and some of you don't even take that opportunity. So definitely get out and vote tomorrow. Tomorrow is the last day in Texas to early vote. Then you have Saturday, which is the last day you can vote for this runoff election. Um, so so definitely do that. Oh, excuse me. Um, some history took place last night here in Texas, which I was kind of surprised. I'm not gonna lie, I was surprised. Um, Shout out to Senator Royce West and the Democratic Party that took a stand last night because they, as I said on the show last night, they was the Senate passed the bill behind closed doors to actually change the voting laws. Well, when they got ready to vote on it, excuse me, the Democrat walked out where there was not enough people to vote on it. Now, that bill did not pass. It's not heading to Greg Abbott's desk, but the time had passed. Now, remember last week, Greg Abbott said he's the only one that can order a special session. Most likely, that's what he's gonna do. He's gonna order a special session to actually be able to get them to vote on it again. But that law is illegal and it should not be passed. That's modern day Jim Crow law where they're trying to keep us from voting. It's our right to vote, and it's nothing that you should do to try to prevent us from vote. You're trying to make it harder for people to vote. And what people have to realize, this election, this laws they're trying to pass, it's not just going to affect me. It's going to affect you also, regardless of who you are. Because the thing is, cutting down early voting hours. I've said many of times on the show, voting hours always been from 7 to 7. Now they want to do them from 8 to 5, and cut down the number of days that you could go vote. Now, if they cut them down, what's going to happen then is basically a lot of people won't vote. Now, some people may say, well, that could backfire on them. Yeah, it could. It could. Because just like Democrats won't be able to vote because of those hours, Republican and independents won't either. So because it cut down on the times, it can and will affect everyone. But looking at the Republican, they're actually trying to make it beneficial for themselves. That's all who they trying to make it beneficial for themselves. And that's why the bill shouldn't be passed. That's why we need to make sure we vote these leaders out. We need a clean sweep of Texas leaders because most of you been there too long and you just comfortable. Most of you just there to get a check. It's all about parties, but it have nothing to do with what the people of Texas need. You just there to say you did this, you did that. But the thing is, we need to make sure we have leaders that's going to do the right thing and not what they're doing in Texas. Welcome to the show, Radio Chaos out of Canada. Funny how Abbott would not call a special session in the legislation to deal with the extreme weather Texas had in February, but caused one to get voter suppression passed. And I'm glad you brought up February. Greg Abbott, before all that happened, and before all those people lost their lives here in Texas, because of the so-called um, rolling blackouts. Um, Before all that happened, Greg Abbott said yes, the blackout would be great. But as soon as it happened, and folks went days without electricity, and some went weeks without electricity, and then all the damage that came behind it, he want to say, no, we can't do that no more. But damn it, Greg, change the law. Put us on the national grid instead of just having us doing it, because they already talking about rolling blackout this summer. He act like back in February, this was the first time. Every year, Texas have rolling blackouts. If that don't piss you off enough of what Greg Abbott is doing, well, guess what? That's another reason why he don't need to be governor, because he don't care about us. Allegedly, he may be sitting back counting his coins that he's making from the electric companies, uh, of controlling the grid. Put us on the national grid. That will prevent all of that. But instead, you saying, no, we're gonna do rolling blackout. Then as soon as something go wrong, oh man, that was messed up. That wasn't good at all. That's not good. We for the people. We need to find out what happened. What happened? You won't put us on the national grid to prevent those, and there's a reason why. See, they talked about it for the first couple of weeks, or maybe even the first month. They talked about it. Haven't heard nothing else in a while. Just the other day on the news, I heard, well, we don't think we're going to have rolling blackouts this summer, but it's a possibility. It's a possibility we will have rolling blackouts. Well, they telling you they are, because we've been doing rolling blackouts for years. But some people think it's the first time we had it in February. No, it's not the first time. We have it every year. They just got caught with their draws down this year. So yes, we need to be able to say, you know what? Put us on the national grid and call it the day. Radio said, I hope citizens in the U.S. are keeping an eye on what's happening in the GOP. This is a serious problem to your democracy. This won't be good for anybody, including Trump supporters. Exactly, because guess what? These rolling blackouts, they don't discriminate. Yeah, if you're close by the hospital, you're not supposed to lose power. But who to say you're on the same grid with the hospital? Who to say that? You don't know. You don't know. So the thing is, if you're not on the same grid as a hospital, and if you need your electricity to have your oxygen machine going, or to keep yourself alive, you think they're going to come and knock on your door and say, hey, do you need your lights today? No, they're going to cut them off. They're going to cut them off. They don't care who you support. You can stand behind that man. He don't care. He don't care. Why? It won't benefit him. A report came out the other day. It said it was more lives than what they thought passed away from that freeze in February. All because of the rolling blackout. All because of that. Now here's the problem. People complained about it. A lot of people lost their loved ones. Are you still going to support the ones that is in charge making these decisions? And here's the joke of the whole thing. When that happened, President Biden was 1 month into office. Guess who they blamed? Blamed him to make you think it was his fault. Well, Joe Biden ain't the one running the grid in Texas. He don't make the decision about it. It's that asshole we have up in Austin that is doing it. That's why he need to go. He needs to get out of office. We need to vote him out. And for this voter suppression bill, like the soundbite I played last week, we know where it comes from, but you still gonna support him? I'm all for a fair and equal fight. If you're running for office, keep it 100. Tell the people exactly what you're gonna do or what you're not gonna do. Because a lot of politicians will tell you anything. They'll look you right in the eyes and say, I'm gonna do this for you, I'm gonna do that for you. And then when they get in office, guess what? You don't see them until it's re-election time. And they forgot about the lie they told you. Radio Chaos said, I wonder if in 2024 the GOP overturn the results of the election if they lose. Then allied countries of the US don't officially recognize your president. This would be unpredictable. Ooh. That's it's a possibility. If they get their way and sign these bills, it's a possibility. I feel like this. I was talking with some family earlier, and they said, you know what? When it come down to voting, now I'm not a political person. I don't know the policy and all of this. But what if the Democrat in Congress and Senate, if they done the same thing, walked out, prevent the vote? I don't know if it's the same rules how it is in Texas, but they have to take a stand. I'm still sickened by the folks that refuse to investigate the January 6th terrorist attack. Apparently, you part of the problem. What is it to hide if you had nothing to do with it? Did you have your head stuck that far up Trump's butt that you don't see the truth? What's the problem? Why? That would be the question, is why? Why are you so blind? Why you want to do what's right and support your people the way you're supposed to? But since they don't want to do it, that's why we as the people need to step up. Step up and vote them out. That's how we do it. Vote them out. I'm confused on all of it. Why are you trying to pass certain bills to please certain people, but you lost focus because regardless of what party you are a part of, You're supposed to represent all the people, all, Democrat, Republican, independent, it doesn't matter. You're supposed to represent all of us. And we know you won't. But when that day come, and we start seeing folks being rolled out and handcuffs and shackles, well, guess what? And be like, hey, don't drop the soap. That I'm gonna call Big Bubble. Tell him get his welcome party together. Um, Radio said the enemies of the U.S. were probably cheering on those idiots that stormed the Capitol because this is a sign that America could fall into chaos down the road. The world is watching. I said back then, they made America look weak. And America is making itself look weaker by allowing the terrorists to go on vacation, to not put them in jail where they're supposed to be, holding them accountable for their action. Because what's going to happen, and this is going to come back and bite America in the ass, for the simple fact, if another terrorist attack comes to America, what's going to happen then? When they try to put that person in jail and hold them in jail, well, guess what? They're going to be like, hey, the attorney is going to fight and say, look, you let them go. Why not us? I wouldn't be surprised the ones that are still in jail today, if they attorneys don't come back and say, hey, my client been in this jail for X amount of years, haven't came to trial yet. They need to be released on bail, just like you did the white terrorists. Why? What's the difference? They both did a terrorist act on America. What's the difference? That's why it's going to come back and bite American ass. Because people feel just because you white, you get special privilege. No, I don't care who you are. What's right is right. What's wrong is wrong. And those folks that actually was able to get out on bail, that's wrong. They was a part of it. They was there. Now I don't know. Guilty by association, because you knew you had no business going up in the Capitol. So you just as guilty. You should have just broke a window like everyone else. Because at that point, once you cross that threshold, you're guilty. If I was there, I crossed that threshold, guess what? I'm guilty. Oh, I don't know. I, I don't know. I don't think nobody knows. I have no idea. I don't think anyone really knows. Why? Because we haven't thought about it. We live in the greatest country in the world. And if it falls, if it fails, we're in trouble. Welcome to the show, T-Cal. Said, hey, Kurt Dog. Hey, Radio. Sorry, so late. About several accidents to finally make it home. I'm glad you made it home safely, because it's been storming here in Dallas. Um, so I don't know, Radio. To be honest with you, I have no idea. Mm, that's a good question. What will we do? What will happen? I don't think anybody knows. We don't know. Hopefully, it don't come down to that. Hopefully, it don't come down to it because it wouldn't be good. Can you imagine? Hmm, I don't know. TCal asked, "What's the talk? What's going on?" Well, we talked about um, the anniversary of 100 years of the Tulsa, Oklahoma um, massacre. And that's what we started off talking about. We also talked about um, the Democrats here in Texas walking out to stop the vote for the modern day Jim Crow suppression law bill, voter suppression bill. And we talked about that. And we have a couple other stories to hit on before we get up out of here. But um, yeah, and I need to, hopefully, I can catch the replay of it. I heard there is a special tonight on CNN about it. So I definitely want to catch the replay and catch the replay. I don't know if my wife recorded or not, but it would be nice if she did. Um, but I've heard several people talking about it before I came on. I found out about another event that was going on, but I couldn't get in. Um, ooh, excuse me. Oh, excuse me. It's been a rough day today. Um, I'm in pain, but I'm working through it. I don't know if I slept bad last night. Not sure what it is, but yeah, I'm hurting. So hopefully, I'll see the smile on my face. Sometime I tell you, I could be on here smiling, but you don't really know how I truly feel. And tonight, I'm in pain. So, um, so that's one thing we talked about. Now, last night after I got off the air, uh, um, when I got off the air last night, first thing I see, um, um, man, this is crazy. Um, in the midst of Greg Abbott trying to make it easier to get access to guns, trying to make it easy. And this is all over the news. Man out of Caryville, just north of San Antonio, man accused of plotting Walmart attack, arrested in Texas. Arrested in Texas. Caryville, Texas. A man has been arrested in Texas, accused of plotting to carry out a mass shooting at a Walmart. And the Carroll County Sheriff Office said in a news release Sunday, that 28-year-old Coleman Thomas Blevins is charged with making a terroristic threat. Investigators said they intercepted a message from Blevins on Thursday indicating he was preparing to proceed with a mass shooting and that the threat included Walmart. Blevins was arrested on Friday. He was arrested on Friday. Authorities searched his home and found firearm ammunition and more, including what sheriff called radical ideology paraphernalia, such as books, flyers, and hidden written documents. Jail records didn't let the attorney who could comment on bails, but now one one of the articles I seen last night actually said that of course he was getting ready to commit this crime and he was just going to go and shoot up the place. But why? They actually said he was already on felony probation. He was already a felon on probation, and wasn't an issue. But they was allowing him to get out on a $250,000 bail, which is $25,000. But he's already a felony violating his probation. Why are you letting this man out? Not sure if he could come up with the money, but you're going to let him out? That's crazy for them to even think about. I want to say this is the story here. I'm trying to find out because one service I did read said that he was already on probation and it violated his probation. They say that he was put in Carroll County Jail where he remained on $250,000 bond, according to authorities. CNN has not determined whether Beverly have a lawyer. The FBI or other federal authority may seek federal charges in the case. The news release said the case reminds us that we need to always be vigilant. May think that can't happen here, and it was well on the way to happening. Sheriff said Sheriff Larry in the news release. Gator did outstanding work in the case and possibly saved many lives. The plot in the interrupt in the case is unthinkable. We appreciate the assistance of our law enforcement partner, including the FBI, DPS, KPD, and service. We'd like to remind the public, if you see something, say something. The KCSO, working with other law enforcement professionals, will continue to stop threats to our community and bring those responsible to prosecution. Well, hopefully justice is served. Hopefully. Radio said, wow, so many mass shooting lately. Yes, it's been way more than what we need out of them. So hopefully justice is served in that. And I was trying to find the story that I originally read when I first read it. I know it's on my phone, but it did talk about uh, the fact that he's already on probation, federal probation. But hey, I guess that's not important. They didn't look at his background and hold him accountable, his background, like they do unarmed victims that have been murdered by the police. So I guess that is a difference. So now we're going to go on to the emails. So the other day, I did receive an email. I was going to read it last night, but didn't get a chance to due to time. But in this email, it was kind of interesting. It was actually from Mick Debates. I've seen him in the chat room quite a bit. And I would encourage anyone, you can send us email. You can tell us how much you love us, show ideals, or you can tell us how much you hate us. Either way. And it's okay. We're going to agree and not agree on certain things. So, DJ Charism, may I call in to speak to you about Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street, please? Yeah, you can do that real quick. And before we get into this email, please do not block your number out. I won't answer. So, yeah, you could definitely call in and we can discuss the Black Wall Street. Let me close that out. The number is 972-591-3665. Oh, I didn't see that comment. My bad. You have a very good narrative voice. It's even better than most news reporter. I appreciate it. Thank you for watching on Twitch. Tarkov_rat_. Please like the page, share, tell a friend. Appreciate you for tuning in. Thank you for your support. DJ, let me know if you're calling in or not. No, it's okay. It's okay, because after the email, we're going to talk about that for a couple of minutes. Then we're going to fly it on up out of here. Like I said, I'm in pain tonight. So you're more than welcome to call in. We can talk about it. That's why I say all the time, this is a show for everyone. We can discuss something that I've already talked about. If you want to give your opinion on it, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I just ask that you be respectful and also come with facts. That's all I ask. That's it. But you could definitely come in, because the email is going to be the last thing I do. After I read it, then we will slide up out of here, because I'm in pain. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm in pain. So I'm waiting for you to call in, and we can go with it like that. So let me know if you're calling in. Just follow the prompts. And okay, there you go. Hold on. Let me get it set up real quick.
Press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Speak on it.
Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good. And you?
That's great to hear. I'm doing well. So I'm sorry if I, like I said, called in, while off topic, but and I should avoid it until you got to your point. But I'll be quick. So my name is Jay, and I was just first of all, before I start, I hope that all of my brothers and sisters out there had a great day today. Happy Memorial Day if you celebrate. But I feel like with the Tulsa, Oklahoma massacre, I feel like not only we should celebrate it for both the negative and the positive. We should carry on their legacy. Because of all the positive that came out of it. And yes, of course, the negative shouldn't affect it. It shouldn't doubt from moving forward with our with the Black community, with our Black community. But it also, it gives us lessons about how about what us Black folks go through in America when we try and better ourselves, regardless of our gender and age. But I feel as though that eventually we will come together and not only help support Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, but also come together to build Black Wall Street and like all over the country and in other countries. And also me and other people began working on a project as to where we're trying to unite a lot of our brothers and sisters together for the sake of that. And it's not only going to be about supporting Black businesses, it's going to be about, helping people in the Black community who are dealing with mental illness, dealing with, I saw that you guys were talking about shootings when I had came in late, but also seeing what we can do about the shootings in our community. See if if we can get people together to stand up and stop go into communities and stop the shootings. Because one thing that I see is that usually when people come in and talk to those people about what's going on, whether it's males or females, they tend to see not much of a lot of stuff going on in our community. So that's basically all I want to say. We have to use that situation for the good, for furthering everything within ourselves, looking at the positive aspect of it for the sake of our community, but also, having that knowledge, as to where to start and, how to continue going despite America, the whole America basically coming down on us.
Yes. Now, Jay, let me ask you a question.
Sorry.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Where do you call it from? What state are you in?
Oh, well, I'm originally from Philadelphia, PA. However, I just moved to Indianapolis, Indiana.
Okay, great. Now, do you think or do you feel that the true history of America should be taught in schools?
Yes, I definitely do. The reason why I said that is because you I feel like you can't teach history without teaching Black history, because we started history, like when people actually dig deep into it, history came from us. And I feel like when it comes to like even history now, I feel like there a lot of great viewpoints that correspond to the type of history that they teach in school is we are a huge factor of that. And also it shows people, why as Black folks get aggravated when something bad happens in our community, or like there's a police shooting, or something of the sort. And it also it shows people how we're not being selfish. We're just trying to do what's best for us. That's just like, you don't see like for example, there's a lot of Mexican restaurants and a lot of, let me see, like Indian owned places. You don't see that, like no one has a problem with them speaking out about their issues, nor, them owning properties and all this other stuff. However, when it comes to, us Black people, it seems as if we, seems that, when we go forward, they try to devalue us from, earning something, having property or anything of the sort. And I just feel like, with people knowing our history and where they came from, it gives them a sense of why we go through what we go through in the community.
Yes.
And why specific things that occurred in America happened.
Exactly. And when you talk about all the shootings in the neighborhoods in our own community, I talk about those too, because here in Dallas, every morning, sometimes I regret cutting the news on, for the simple fact you hear about all the different shootings. I've heard about a couple of shootings today that happened overnight. One happened south of Fort Worth, where multiple people were shot. The shooting in Miami the other yesterday morning, and it's all over the news. And I think we, as a community, need to be able to take our community back over. And
Exactly.
unfortunately, it's not like it was when I was growing up, where we had policemen come around, they interact with the community and stuff like that. Now we don't trust them.
Yeah.
So,
and it's and on top of that, it's very sad how it's like that, because now it's, and just like when you asked me about teachers, whether or not teachers should teach history in school, it's like they oh gosh, I always do this. Oh man, I always do well, it's right on the the tip of so I feel like another reason why we should unite is because of the programming of our children.
yes.
A lot of people don't realize it, but they're coming after our children as well. I'm not a mother. I hope to be in the future. However, I'm not. But at the end of the day, I feel like, with our community, all of us should look at all Black children as our children, because unfortunately they're being targeted just as much as us. The only difference is that they're not being killed as much as us. But, like there's teachers targeting them, and people trying to devalue them and all sorts of things. And I just feel like, like we have to, even if the teachers fail to teach our children the wrong history, usually it's typical history like Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, little stuff like that. I feel like the parents, they should still aim to teach their child this and that, because like I said, with them trying to program our kids and white code everything, our children aren't going to get anywhere if they continue to program them. And just like, I don't know whether you saw that video or not, it was a viral video of Serena Williams, where the white man reporter, he was constantly, he was making her feel as if, she couldn't, win her her match, yes. And he kept asking, are you really sure? Are you sure? Until her father stepped in. And that's another thing about. I believe that was it was either Malcolm X or Farrakhan who said it about about Black men should come back in our communities, and I agree. I feel like in order to unite even more with our culture, we need to continue to procreate with our own.
Exactly.
And that's another great way to program your children in the right way, instead of trying to you know, like a lot of movies, that's another thing that's programming our children. Like there's Menace to Society, oh gosh,
Well,
Higher Learning. There's a bunch of movies that teach you lessons about, you know, like
about the
things that
culture.
goes on in life, and you know, also that like there are stereotypes, just like in Menace to Society, stereotypes about Black children, and I feel like with both parents in the household, you know, they'll get a glimpse of, you know, how to be a man, how to be a woman, how to raise a family. Now, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of single parents out here who are killing it, both mothers and fathers. But at the same time, you know, a man can't teach a girl how to be a woman, and a woman can't teach a boy how to be a man. We need that equal structure.
Well,
and we need to, you know, we need to start fighting against these stereotypes.
Well, I kind of agree with that, kind of don't, because I was raised by a single parent, and my mom made sure my brother and I knew what we needed to do as men, and she also taught my sister them what they needed to do. So it depends on that parent, and if you start to train them early and show them and correct them when they're wrong, then it can work out. But also, the church I grew up at, Golden Chain Missionary Baptist Church, with Reverend Horns, the deacons there did not play. They knew my mother was a single mother, knew she worked several jobs. And when that church van came, we had to get on that church van. And if we got if we got the food at church, we didn't have to wait until we got home to get a whooping. No, deacons took care of it right there at the church. So it take a village to be able to do something like that. And we had that understanding, because soon as that deacon tell my mom, hey, I had to get on Kurt Dog and his brother, well, guess what? When she got home, that was another whooping. So she didn't play. And please do not go to sleep without cleaning up the kitchen. You go to sleep, you want to. When she got home that night, you got woke up, but it wasn't no shaking. So
and I was going to say, on the last note, I know that there's a lot of adults nowadays who allow their children to think it's okay to be grown, not only females but males as well.
Yeah, that's due to social media.
That's another thing, you know, and just like, I agree, because it was like that with me too, you know, like, I'm only 23. I turned 24 in July. However, you know, I didn't get beatings like that from my mom nor my grandmother, but they surely, you know, they had me really tight, you know, when I was younger. They made sure that I was on point with everything, because I knew if I didn't do something, that was my behind. But I feel like we should go back to that. You know, some people think that it's old or it's modern and all this other stuff. I don't really agree. I feel like, you know, at the end of the day, you're never too old to get a whooping. And, you know, like, no matter how old the child is, that's still your job to teach the child. Because, you know, I was raised by a single parent too, my mother. But at the same time, I wasn't out running the streets. You know, like, parents nowadays, they have to teach their kids that it's not okay to do this. It's not okay to do that. You know, it's not okay to run the street. It's not okay to, you know, have intercourse at a young age. It's not okay to get pregnant at a young age. It's not okay to get out there and sell drugs. It's not okay what you want, because you know, there's a lot of things that goes into you know, all those factors. But, you know, on top of that, we have to teach our children, you can't get away with what they get away with. You know, when it comes to Caucasians, Hispanics, Indians, and all those other people, you can't get away. They're not going to let you slide that easy.
And not only that, a lot of people have to stop allowing the neighborhood and social media to raise your kids. Right now, today, a lot of kids are going to remain in the same grade for the simple fact the parents was not checking to make sure they was doing their homework while they was homeschooled. And you have to be
Yeah.
held responsible for it. And unfortunately, it's the child that's suffering because the child chose to watch videos or TikTok or whatever instead of doing
Yep.
what they should have been doing in school. And there's so many kids having to go to summer school or even going
Yeah.
to remain in the same grade, repeat that grade again. So I definitely
Yeah.
appreciate. Now I see that you're watching on YouTube. Have you subscribed, like, share, click the
Well,
notification?
yes, I've been subscribed to you for a while.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Yeah, sometimes yes, I've been subscribed to you for about I think it was like late last year in 2020 is when I subscribed to you.
Okay.
And yeah, so I'm kind of new, but I'm not that new. But yes, I try and catch you when I can. I work like crazy, and I also I have a business. So if I'm at work, what I'll do is I'll if I catch your live, I'll listen to. I won't really interact with the chat, but what I'll do is I'll put my headphones in and I'll listen.
Okay. All
So
right.
this was a perfect night for me to actually interact with everyone because I would have been at work right now.
Well, I definitely appreciate the love and also now you mentioned earlier in the conversation that you're working on a program about how people can take their neighborhoods back. You mentioned something about that earlier when you first came on. Uh, you work program or some ways that people can actually take their neighborhoods back.
Yes, about how we can all unite as one. It's not only about. I feel like today it's with everything that's going on, we have to expand it, but what we will be focusing on with that with that foundation is we will not only build build facilities as to where only black owned businesses are allowed, and everything is there as to where people can support them and buy items from them and everything. It will be actually it'll be physical, but instead of online, and then it will also be things as to where there's mental illness help, because that's a huge thing that we don't talk about in the Black community when it comes to both male and female, about how we can stop these shootings with the males. No matter where they are, how to reduce them. We go out, we talk to them about this and that. We go out and we talk to the kids about, getting them programmed to do better and go forward in life. Even if, they're in we're just doing everything to support each other. But, with kids, there's a lot with kids because, I grew up in an abusive household. I'm not even going to lie. I went through a lot as a kid, with not only my mother but also a few male figures who were supposed to be protecting me, and a lot of stuff happened. But I feel like as long as kids, even though there are a lot of kids who are in abusive households like I was in, if people reach out to them and support them, and do everything in their power to, give them what they need in order to succeed, then, by all means, we should do it.
Most definitely. What I do and what I have is my email up. Who you with, KirkDog@mail.com.
Oh yes, I saw at the top of the screen with the number.
Shoot me an email with more information about it, and I want to see if I can work with you on that. even though we're in two different cities. But I would definitely like to have more information about it.
That's not a, not a, I'm sorry to cut you off, brother, but that's not a problem at all. Social media, that's what I love about social media. That's the only reason why I think that social media is the best thing that happened. Other than that, I don't like social media because it's nothing but drama, but social media is a huge factor when it comes to us uniting. So, it's a blessing and a curse at the same time. But yes, I'm putting your email in my in the, I can't say my because it's like a we thing, but in our address book, I'm doing that now. Contact folder.
Okay. All right. Definitely keep in contact whenever you have time. What I would do is once I get the email, it may be later this week when I'm able to really get deep into it, and then I'll reach out to you, and then we can try to come up with a plan and find out more about your organization and go from there. Now, is your organization a 501c3 or?
Repeat what you just said again. I'm sorry.
Is your organization, is it nonprofit?
Yes, it's nonprofit.
Okay.
So what will happen is we will all be coming together to donate money towards all the facilities to be built.
Okay. All right. Well, definitely send me your information, and I will reach out to you and see what we could do, and probably continue up with somebody here in the Dallas Metroplex that is doing great things out here where y'all can work together and let's make a difference in our community. Now I'm gonna ask you a question, and I know you just said you moved from Philly to Indianapolis. Have you registered to vote in Indianapolis yet?
No, I haven't. To be honest, I've only been here for a few months. I bought my house in late February, early March, and I just moved in officially about approximately 3 weeks ago. No, approximately 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So I'm still, I'm still getting set with that. I still have to change my license over. Both of my licenses, register my car in the state and, do other stuff.
Okay.
To become an official Indiana resident.
All right. Well, definitely make sure you get registered to vote. Congratulations on the new home. And definitely whenever you can catch us, I will be in contact with you once I get the email, and we will try to work together and see what we could do to get that program nationwide, because there's a lot of community needed, especially Dallas, Chicago, Florida. There's so many communities that need it, so many shootings that goes on that we don't hear about, that we definitely need to take our community back over. So I appreciate you calling in, Jay, and you're always welcome to call in or come in and chime in on the comments that we're talking about. It's all good. So you are family.
No problem. Yes, no problem, brother. Thank you so much for accepting my call, and I appreciate it talking to you as well. But Black media will definitely be included into this nonprofit organization, because if it wasn't for y'all, we wouldn't know about a lot of things all over, not only in our communities, but all over America. We wouldn't know about a lot if it weren't for y'all, and y'all give the actual, the true details on top of that. So, thank you very much for being another person who is involved in the Black media.
I appreciate it. I definitely appreciate it. And you have a good night. And don't forget to send me that email, because I want to know more about this program.
Yes, no problem. And thank you so much. Great talking to you. Have a great night.
Thank you. Same to you. God bless.
Thank you. God bless. Bye.
Man, that's Jay from originally from Philly, moved to Indiana. It's been a while since I've been to Indiana, which it was pretty cool. Pastor Jeffrey Johnson is up there, which is a great preacher that is in that area. Um, so shout out to Jay for calling in and giving us her opinion uh, about the things she's doing in the world, trying to make a difference, but also the Tulsa, Oklahoma massacre from 1921, and also talking about the history, the true history of America in the schools. She feels it should be taught in the school, which I feel like it should be too, because you need to let everyone know the true history of America. If it's not taught in school, and if the parents are not teaching it in the home, within a decade, it will be gone. So we need to continue to make sure we talk about it. And we also need to make sure we're getting out and voting, let our voice be heard. Um, I'm going to talk about this email real quick, which I encourage everyone. If you want to send an email in, express yourself about the show, good or bad, which is cool. I'm okay with that. But we're going to start reading emails. A lot of time people leave comments on different platforms, and I respond on there. But hey, send me an email so we can have this dialogue, and good or bad, however you feel, I'm all for it. So this actually came from Mick Debates, which he actually chimed into the show quite a bit, and he brought up some interesting things. Um, and I'm gonna try to answer his email live on the air and go from there. He said, "I barely missed you tonight. I'm sure you got her. We have different opinion on many topics. The last cast of yours, I saw you mention a name that I had yet to hear, Runner Green. So as I do, I started looking into the story. In the last year, we have seen a man who was breaking a restraining order and attempting to steal a van with children in it and shot by an officer and then made a millionaire. We saw a child being uh, murdered for defending his life against three convict felons while making, and I thought our attempt to protect local business, I would assume he's talking about Cal Rittenhouse, but we'll respond back in a minute. An 8-year-old girl was shot in reaction to police killing, um, a man who was found passed out drunk in a Wendy's drive-through. A city burnt due to a cop killing a drug-out felon. We watched as the FBI uses our resource to hunt down people that police open the doors for while giving others whole city blocks and don't even send police in to recover murder bodies. When the Fernando Rodriguez story broke, I questioned, where's the outrage? Okay, he was mentally ill and was approaching an officer, I guess. Then Mr. Tansy Jeffries was murdered in Fort Worth, and we got silence. No, we didn't. Uh, Once again, I had to wonder, um, where was the coast to coast coverage? But of all news story that never went huge, Runner Green story makes me sick. Yes, this man was on drugs. Yes, he led the police on a high speed chase. He was already brutally murdered. Then these disgusting state agent blankly lied on report and had to report into the hospital. And when the pig found out he was going to be held accountable, he killed himself beforehand. Doing so kept his name cleared and allowed his family to keep the reward of his crook career. We all must keep these stories in front of the eyes of everyone. The network news only chose to hype up the stories that are most likely to divide one group from the other. Any person with a fraction of soul will be sickened if they watch the body cam footage of Ronald Green. Do you have an opinion on why only the controversial cases are so loudly published? Sorry, such a long run up to such a short question. I've enjoyed your perceptive and appreciate your ability to talk to those with different analogy. There are not enough calm voices in the world to keep the peace. Thank you for being one that helped the cause of civility. Uh, Hope of more peaceful years ahead, Mick Debate. Mick, I appreciate the email. Um, as for Runner Green, um, that was a sickening video. It was a situation where um, it was crazy. It was crazy on that particular situation, just like the many other situation. Um, when it came out last week, um, well, yeah, last week, week and a half ago. So when Runner Green video was finally released, I appreciate his mother for continued to fight. She refused to believe what they told her. And now justice hopefully will be served. Unfortunately, as I've last heard, um, no arrest been made. Um, and also nothing had been done. So I agree with you. It's wrong. Whatever the situation may have been, as for Runner Green, I could only imagine what he felt. Because here it is as a black man. When we leave our homes, we have a target on our back. Wait a minute, let me correct that. We have a target on our back even in our homes because we've seen cases. I believe it was up in Kentucky that came out earlier this year or last year, where a black man and his family was targeted by a bogus warrant for someone who didn't even live there. Just like the Breonna Taylor case, the same thing happened. And some of those officers in Breonna Taylor case, they was involved with the black family being terrorists, um, being targeted for this same situation. So as a black man, as long as we are alive, we have a target on our back. It doesn't make a difference if you at home, if you outside your door, you are a target. We have seen many cases where a black man may be in his front yard doing yard work, and policemen have come up and questioned him because they felt like he had no business being there. So that's a problem. And I agree with you with Runner Green when you hear on the video when he stopped wreck or whatever it was, he get out, I apologize. I was scared. I was scared. I apologize. But still, they beat him to death. Now, a lot of people don't care about that because they didn't know Ronald Green. A lot of people didn't care about that because they want to pull up Ronald Green background. That shouldn't matter. A lot of people don't care about that because he was a black man. But as soon as a white man, something like this happened to the white man, which is only maybe a 1% chance of something like this happening, which we have seen many of times where a white man can do a mass shooting and be taken to Burger King after the mass shooting as a reward. Or we can see a white man do a mass shooting and the police officer tell the media he had a bad day. Like I said, I'm having a bad day right now. I'm in pain, but still, I'm here. I'm doing what I need to do. I'm gonna feel it later on, but trust me, when I take that hot shower, hopefully it'll release some of that pain. But still, we all have bad days. But unfortunately, when it comes down to Black people, we don't get the opportunity to say, I was just having a bad day. Because a lot of time, not all the time, but majority of the time, if a Black person interact with a white cop, you got a 50-50 chance of surviving, regardless of what the interaction may be. And I say the white cops because we don't hear about a lot of mass shootings of Black cops doing on Black folks nor on white race. So the thing is, yes, we as a Black folks have a target on our back. Just because we've been kissed by the sun, we have a target. If God made all of us colorblind, I don't think we would have these issues. Too many people look at race. A lot of people say you talk about race all the time. If that offends you, you're probably part of the problem. I'm not saying you, Mick, but I'm talking about the ones that leave those messages. If it offends you because I'm talking about the experiments or the experiences that I have received as a Black man, if that offends you, you're part of the problem. Now, I love everyone. My wife tell me all the time, you never go somewhere without meeting someone. Because I look at it like this. At the end of the day, I'm your brother, you're my sister, or you're my brother. If I see you in need, I'm going to try to help you if I can. But at the same time, I want to be treated with respect. A lot of people judge me because of my size and because of the color of my skin. That's two strikes against me before they ever take the opportunity of getting to know me. So yes, there's a race problem in America. What they did to Ronald Green is sickening. Ronald Green should still be alive today. Anybody who did not hold those officers accountable, they're just as guilty as the ones that did it. Any one of them. I don't care what color you are, you're just as guilty. Because one thing about it, I say all the time on the show, what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong. And some of these other stories, the way that I pick and choose which story we're going to talk about, It's not about what's in the media. It's about what's going on with that story. I look at the full detail of it. I have people that contact me from time to time and want me to talk about things on my platform. But I ask them some hard questions. Before I talk about it, I ask them hard questions. Because one thing about it, I'm not going to allow you to come on my platform giving out false information. That I won't do. I had a young lady reach out to me last year, wanted to come on and talk about what happened with her son. Well, when we talked and I did my research and I started asking questions, she started backpedaling. She didn't want to come on then. That's fine. Because one thing about it, I'm not going to put out false information. Now, if I accidentally make a mistake, I come back and I correct it. So there you go. But Mick, I appreciate you for always tuning in. I appreciate it. Now, you did talk about Fernando Rodriguez. I remember that case. Yes, I do. It was an unfortunate thing that happened to him. But in that situation, it was completely different. It was the fact that, yes, he was on drugs. Yes, he was naked. And he was tased. Now, if more evidence come out about it, I'll be all on it. But I look at each story, each individual story, not just the Black stories. I look at every story, kind of like uh, Baby Cash, another story I pay attention to. I have some personal opinion about it. And I don't say a lot of things on here because I don't want to put out what I feel should happen. I'm going to let the authorities do what they need to do before I just go out and say with this, that, or whatever. But if you watch the show, I even said on the past show, I feel like it's more to this story than what people really believe. It's way more to that story. It's just a matter of time before it comes out. And when it comes out, it's going to be like, wow, I can't believe it. So it's way more to it. Uh, Squirt cake, okay. Hopefully you took the time to go ahead and like, share, click the notification whenever we come on. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for supporting the show. Burnt loot, murder. Don't know what you mean about it, but okay. T-Cal said, real talk, Kirk Dog. Appreciate it, T-Cal. But just like Mick debates, you can also send an email in. And he also mentioned about Antiana Jefferson out of Fort Worth, Texas. Yes. When that case happened, yes. I did talk about it. But a lot of time the media, he did ask the question, why do the media only talk about the case that is going to divide the people? Well, to be honest with you, with the media, mainstream media, what a lot of them talk about is, yes, it is a racial division in most of them. Some of them don't keep it real. They don't be honest with you because they will highlight certain crimes in the Black community, but they won't really highlight that same crime in the white community. And that's a problem within itself because they want to make you think just because it's in the white community, everything is all uh, peaches and cream, but it's not. It's crimes that goes on all the time in the white community, but the only time we really hear about it, unless it has something to do with a black person, or if it's one no mass shooting and they don't have a choice but to talk about it. So yes, but Atonta Jefferson, I believe that cop is getting ready to go on trial here pretty soon. Um, I need to check on that because I think it's coming up here pretty soon. Pretty soon. So we definitely need to uh, make sure we keeping that fresh on people's mind as well as other things that other trials that's going to be coming up soon. So, matter of fact, I can tell you when. Uh, da, 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 da. It's actually coming up. Trying to see because I want to make sure I give the correct date. Um, uh, they don't have the date on here, but they say the next justice done for George Floyd. Now, how about Fort Worth and Thomas Jefferson? That trial is coming up soon. Oh, in August. It's coming up in August, so in a couple of months. We don't have the date, but it's coming up in August. So that's something we will be paying attention to, as well as other trials. Even when you talked about defending life against three convicted felons, I would assume you was talking about Kyle Rittenhouse. Rittenhouse never should have been there. He's a thug, allegedly a thug, and he never should have been there, especially not with a weapon. Who gonna hire a child to protect their property? And if a business owner done it, they should be on trial with him. You don't hire a child to do a grown man job or a grown woman job. You don't do that. So so you should be held accountable also. But hey, any emails you want to send in, talk about any subject we have talked about, the email is on the screen, who you with kurtdog at mail.com, who you with kurtdog at mail.com. You can find me on all social media. You can always shoot me a message or um, shoot me a message by email, or if we're live, you can live chat, you can call in during that time. So I really appreciate everyone for tuning in tonight. Like I said, I'm in pain. Thank you, Jay, for calling in. Once again, congratulations on your new home and your safe move, T-Cal, Squirt Cake, even though I don't understand your comment, but I appreciate you. Radio Chaos, thank you for tuning in. And the many more peoples that have tuned in. Tarkov underscore rat underscore. Thank you for tuning in. And I know we get a lot of people come in and some of them talk, some of them don't, which is cool. But this is a platform for everyone as long as you coming in, being honest, not doing conspiracy theory, and being respectful. Everyone is welcome on this platform. Other than that, I appreciate you. I love each and every one of you. Until tomorrow, peace.